Morning, good morning, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our annual general meeting. So, today we thought it would be apt to be able to have a session where we can have a few reports about things that have been going on in and around our community. It's been about 1 year since we had an annual general meeting. And the last one, we were able to share a lot of interesting things about how the beginnings of our mergers took place. And we were able to sort of form our community council. We had Pastor William and Ruth Haynes become our pastor couple for our community. And throughout this past year, we've had many different activities, initiatives, and just different things going on. So we thought it would be wonderful to be able to take time to be able to sort of take stock of what's been going on and share with everybody here today, and of course everyone joining us online, as to what's been going on and sort of keep everyone up to speed and up to date. So we'll first have a chairperson's report by our chairman of the community, our council, by Chris Labar. Following that, we'll have a report and vision from our pastor, William Haynes. We'll have a financial report, an explanation of the survey. So if you remember, there was a North Thames community survey going around over the last month or a couple months. And so I will just share at that point in time just a few things about that and sort of open everyone's eyes to the kind of statistics we're able to gain from that. And then we'll finish off with a Q&A session. So I'd now like to invite up Chris Labar to be able to offer the chairperson's report. So please invite him up with a round of applause.
Okay. So I hope our whole meeting won't be more than like 40 minutes, but it will be something like that, I think. So, just to quickly give a little report on the past year. Generally, the merger and the coordination of our three communities is intended to bring us closer together so we can know each other, take care of each other. Especially right now, many of us are getting older. And, there's a lot of need for us to take care of each other. And the more we're aware of each other, the better. So, in total, we have, on a list of names that I've got in terms of names, I've got 163 names. We've got 126 identities on the WhatsApp group. And then on the comms group, there's 74. So, there's all different ways in which we're interacting with each other. But, we spread across a very wide region. And in general, we've had the Sunday services. That's the main thing that we've managed to keep going. There's been a lot of investment in the Sunday services. And basically, they are joint services every week. That's the intention, even though they're at different locations. For example, next week is at Lancaster Gate, and the week after that is at Romford. So please take the opportunity to meet those you don't usually meet if you can go to different places. We've had an average that has stayed fairly stable of about 30 people at each Sunday service. And the online numbers have increased, so more and more have found ways and wanted to connect online. So we've usually had about 20, but it's been rising to about 30 connections. Do you know how many we've got connecting today? About the same again, 20. Okay. So we've also been using the YouTube and posting the sermons, and that's drawn a lot of interest, clearly from beyond our community as well as those within the community, because the numbers going up to 200 or more viewings of sermons from the past. So that also has a big impact. So there was a review of William and Ruth's position, and we've appreciated their contribution. We've started a newsletter, so I'm sure you've seen that. I've got more copies of the current newsletter. If you didn't get it, please make sure you take away one today. Initiated by Peter Schroeder, and so that's been since January, every 6 weeks, very promptly. And it's I think a very great production. Let me give him a hand at this point. Thank you for initiating that. Lots of people have contributed to it, of course. We did finally close the old bank account, so there is only one bank account, so I hope there's no confusion about that. We had an event in February called Community Connections, in which we tried to showcase, some various projects and offer funding. And we're going to do the same thing again in November 26th. So look out for that. But also, so that's initiated the idea that we're trying to use our funds to sponsor good things. And so that when you get to the financial report, we'll see the ways in which grants have been given. So over the past year, about £10,000, we've contributed to different projects. And so perhaps we'll list those when we get to the financial report. We also started, Ron Chandler initiated a community fund. So this is a separate fund from the Family Federation Fund, so it doesn't go through the charity accounts. And it makes us more free to use it for the pastoral care and support of members in the community that need it. So there'll be a brief report on that. So bit by bit, we're trying to create a framework where we can have something that will keep going and enable everybody to benefit. And for that purpose, we've had this community council, and we've met every 1 or 2 weeks over the past year. So that's been a lot of work for everybody involved. So the individuals who've contributed, Kieran was doing the Sunday service coordination at Lancaster Gate until October, and so he stepped down from that. Diana Vanderstock was doing the Lancaster Gate Sunday School until August, and so she stepped down from that. And also stepping down from the Community Council, Jeff and AJ and Francis, who've all contributed a tremendous amount from their experience and background. They'll continue to do that, but so we're kind of opening a way that more people could join the Community Council from other parts. So they have each of their focuses of attention. So the current Community Council then, just so you know who's who, that's myself as chair, Joanna D'Souza as the treasurer, Helena Stout as the secretary, Raymond as the Hatch End North London service coordinator and technician, Arian as the Lancaster Gate service coordinator, Cindy was also that until August, Ron as the East London and East Anglia service coordinator, and also coordinating the community fund, Naomi as the Lancaster Gate support, general mother to us all, Peter as the newsletter initiator, as well as supporting and taking care of ELEA collections, and Kieran as a youth and trustees representative, and also safeguarding lead, as he pointed out recently, and of course William as pastor. So that's the Community Council. We really, could do with someone who would be an outreach coordinator, and certainly other roles and arrangements. So we'd like to see that, and it's not a fixed group. In the absence of any nominations at the moment, then those in the key roles will continue for another year. But very happy to give up our positions, and hope that others will want to participate. Of course, there are many, many other volunteers contributing to everything. We think of Taiko Wiedeker, who does the beautiful flowers at Lancaster Gate every time they have a service there. Peter doing music again and again. Thank you for him. The band at Lancaster Gate varies from different people, Howard and Patrick and Miwa, Cindy, Chris, Kieran, many more. It's hard to say everybody. Joseph doing the technical work there. Naomi always supporting with food, and Arian as well, lots of things cooked. And Kioka been doing the Sunday school here. She wasn't able to do it this week, but she's put in a tremendous amount of energy for that. Judith is always doing things for the refreshments and helping the background things with flowers and so on. And so many people contribute, and I think probably everybody here contributes in one way or another, and you're contributing just by being here as well. And of course, donations that everybody makes. We wanted to give some awards, and we had just an idea to give an award for something. And maybe later we might do sort of more formal awards, but as an informal award, we want to award somebody for doing the most dishes, and that's Ann Cotter. Come and get an award. So, for doing the most dishes, you get a dish. Congratulations, Ann. Okay. And also, I wanted to award whoever came the furthest. So, I know there's somebody from Rowhedge near Colchester, which is definitely very far away. Is there any challenges to that distance?
Yeah, there's Sipiwi. She's from Norwich.
But is she here?
Oh, she's not here.
I see. Well, you know, we appreciate your participation if Sipiwi is online. But Ron, you must come, or Inga, come and get an award for traveling the furthest. A travel mug. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, anyway, we wanted to award something, so we had that idea. All right. So we'll do something more formal probably at the Community Connections event on November 26th. So keep that in mind. So. Yeah, there are many different activities going on. We would like to find ways in which everybody can be involved, and to promote the groups that exist and the way in which you're interacting. If there's any way that can be helped by better coordination, please offer your suggestions. So I think that's the end of my report. I will pass on to the next stage. Shall I just pass on straight to William for his report as pastor? Thank you.
So you already heard from me this morning, and too much generally. Just one. Anyway, is it just 1 year? Oh, 1 year. Okay. All right. So when I
You've been longer than 1 year.
have I?
Oh, yeah.
How long have I been here?
It was July, so a year and a bit.
Year and a bit. Okay. So my memory's completely gone. Can't even remember what happened yesterday now. Okay, so I've been here for a year and a bit. Whatever. Anyway, so when inauguration, I said there's three sort of basic goals I wanted to do. One was things that we do is worship, which I guess to carry on. So I'm glad that since lockdown, our worship services have become re-established. And at the moment, it's just every other week between Hatch End and where's the place? Lancaster Gate. And the last Sunday of the month in Romford, where I always enjoy going as well. And if you want to have it more often, you can always have it more often, either in Romford, if you wanted to or here or elsewhere. That depends on the local geographical community. I don't think it's practical for us all to, travel vast distances to meet every Sunday. So I'm happy it's become re-established. Also more people participating online. I'm sorry I haven't invested enough in this area to try to... one of the things I noticed when I went to the synagogue yesterday is how intensely religious the service is. And if you go to a regular Christian church, it's intensely religious. The liturgy and Jewish service, but most of the time is reading or saying prayers, singing psalms, and praising God. And it's anyway, I think and I would love our service to become much more like that in terms of the songs that we choose and the whole service to become a place where people can feel the presence of God and feel the Holy Spirit moving. The thing I mentioned was about supporting, developing our community. So I'm really pleased with the newsletter. I think that's made a huge contribution. And I hope other communities in the UK and other places of the world will adopt it. I know there are people in South London everywhere that avidly read all the news that's going on north of the river because I think it's really important that we get to know each other. And we're all little people, like little hobbits. And, not very many of us are going to be able to appear on the the Peace magazine or the European news or here or there, but we can all, I'm happy that our own contributions within our own community can be recognized, that people within our own community can have a voice as well. So I'm happy when, for example, Cindy's songs and poems appear. We'll talk about Cindy. Then, as you know, the Vanderstocks, they moved to Bolton. They moved there happily. And I'm happy for them that they've been able to settle in well there. And then the small groups initiative, some have developed quite well, but the impression I get is not a lot of them really have taken off. And it's a shame, but it was an opportunity. Of course, meeting at Sunday service is our main place where we meet the members of our community. And then in terms of, what was the other one? Serving the wider community. So I wanted to start a thing for teaching refugees, English to refugees. I still want to do that, but I need to have a clear run at it. But I have sort of various medical things which put me away for a while. But I'm really pleased, that so many people within our community are doing so many different things to serve the local community, whether it's Francoise or the Interfaith and the Watford, all the different things going on in Watford, with Jeff with the Peace Garden, and Robin, of course, with UPF, and Mitty, who's also in our community, the Women's Federation. And I know lots of people then are reaching out and serving a local community on a national level, international level as well. And Patrick and Ebony with especially doing extraordinary work with our young people, not just in our community, North London, but also the UK and Europe. So I'm really pleased that people like Patrick and Ebony are able to serve well beyond our own community, to serve on a European level. That's great. So, I'm happy that these things are happening, and I'm happy that these things can be reported about, people contributing. Anyway, so God willing, I'll be here for another year. Hoping to go into hospital soon, get another operation or two. And I feel really grateful, very blessed, to be able to have all the medical care I've had. I'm really grateful also for all the support that you've given my wife and I over this past year or two, and encouragement. And I've also been happy that I've been able to visit a lot of you in your homes, and quite a few have been come to visit me in our home and in our garden. So I want to also carry on. I want to go and make sure I visit everybody. Yeah, really, everybody. And get to know you better, and to help in whatever way, I can. Okay, so it's nice to see Fatima here. I taught her on, one of the many people I was lucky enough to be able to teach on Done, which is great. And also Bear, who was also on Done many years later after Fatima, which was... Were you introduced last time you were here? I can't remember anything, I'm sorry. Mambog, did you stand up here and introduce yourselves? Oh, well, please come here and introduce it. They've just moved into our region recently. And then Fatima, you can also come.
I'm here since 2007.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was in South.
Hi, my name is Beatrice, Bear for short. This is Mambok. We got blessed in May and we moved to Barnet recently. So we've joined North of London, I think.
Great, welcome.
Thank you.
Great. So they're both very welcome and to our community. Is there anything? Did you want to say anything about me? I mean, I thought you're living with Naomi now, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been in UK since 2017.
Yeah, but
So it's been a long time.
well, that's okay. Have you been here to Hatcham before? I can't remember now.
Not here, Lancaster.
Okay, well, this is a different group of people here, so come up and introduce yourself.
I was trying to not go. Hi, everyone. I'm Fatima. I come from Portugal, and I'm here working as graphic designer in a cosmetics company in Harrow. And I was really lucky that Naomi had a room for me, which is like 13 minutes by bicycle from my office. Even though I work from home, I go once a week to the office. So it's really like a blessing that I'm so close to my work. And I've been received very well from Naomi's family, and I feel very happy and blessed. I'm happy to come here today and to meet all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Bea forgot to mention that she's also from Portugal, so a little bit of a Portuguese influence came to. And Manbok, of course, is from South London. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much. That's. Did I? I haven't got it. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. So, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, that's another thing I really wanted to. I was really pleased, Ron, at the thingy-bob we had. What's it called? Community Connections. Where Ron came up with a proposal, and it was great. But he's actually done it, even without getting any funding so far. And I was so happy because, to be honest, the way our movement developed in this country was not through people standing on the street witnessing about God. If you look back at the early literature, there's a lot of literature produced about different issues, little pamphlets about all the different things that are going on in the UK, or different issues and controversies and this. And we were producing these small little pamphlets, booklets, that we're selling to fundraise on the street, addressing all these different topics and different interests. And what we found is that the people who were attracted to our movement in the early days were the people who were interested in changing society, who were interested in these particular issues. Yeah, and they're the people that came to talk to us. They're the people who want to know why are you doing this. They're the people that later on came to workshops. So the focus was not on, oh, do you believe in God, or what do you think is the purpose and meaning of life, which is all terribly what we've been doing for 20 years, 30 years. Anyway, it was much more issue-focused. And then we attracted people who wanted to change the world, which is what we're all about, really. We're not really interested in building a religion, converting people to believe this, that, and the other about God, or whether Jesus is supposed to be crucified or not. To be at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You know, it's about changing the world in which we live, which True Mother, I'm glad to say, emphasized recently. And so when Ron came up and started doing this, and I saw this little video, I was so inspired. Because one of the most difficult things about standing on the street and witnessing is plucking up the courage to go and stop somebody and talk to them and, you know, getting slapped down over and over again. But when you do it Ron style, you just do that, you put up this thing and on an issue, and the people started to come to talk to him and argue with him. And I thought this is the best way to witness, is to take a stand, a principled stand on a particular issue, and you can see what he does, and it opens a conversation up to talk about dual characteristics and this, that, and the other. And I think that's the kind of thing what we should be doing. So I was so inspired by what Ron did, and I thought this is what we should all be, well, if you want to, what our movement, generally speaking, should be doing, this kind of witnessing, not the religious stuff. So do you want to show it?
He said you can dress like a man.
Yeah.
He said, but you've got X, Y, something, something, and a woman has got X, Y, Y. And he said you can't change that.
Right. My first point
Yeah.
up there. There you go. She understands it. Come on. You're a good man. Doing my best. Yeah, exactly. Are you doing a vlog? Yes. It's like only 2 genders.
Kid and tell me you're going to you shouldn't have a kid if you have so much of a life. You're born how you fucking born. That it has to cut off its genitals. Yeah, but listen, that is a mental disturbance. Who are you to say that a little boy can't be a little girl?
Because he's a boy.
No! It's got nothing to do with you. You stood here going against... It doesn't matter what's in between your legs.
It does.
Sorry, good afternoon.
Paul, it's my colleague Lee.
Hi.
Basically they've called us down here and we just thought I'd just have a chat with you, see what's going on.
Yeah, that's fine,
I understand
that's
you're quite
fine.
a crowd of people.
Great. So next time you come to the community, what's it called again? Connections, then I'm sure we can fund you because you're doing something. What a fund existing people actually taking the initiative. Great, so thank you all very much, and back to Chris.
Thank you, Pastor William, for a wonderful report on things going on. And of course, it's really wonderful to see one of our own sort of really taking a stand on some of these issues that are going on in and around the world that, you know, are very much controversial. We have very much a particular stance on that, and we're really happy to see that, you know, there's people moving. There's something to, you know, look at. And of course, just looking at the video, there's also a lot of people that agree with our stance in that sense. So in some ways, that's also a bit of hope to also have with ourselves. We'll now move on to a financial report that we'll have by our sister Joanna D'Souza. Following that, we'll have a shorter community fund report by Ron Chandler. So let's invite up our sister Joanna D'Souza.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much. It's really good to have the opportunity to share about finance, because we know it's really important. It's a very spiritual, it's physical, but it's very spiritual as well. And how we manage and take care of the funds that we receive from all of you is very important. And I want to firstly say thank you very, very much for all your donations and contributions, both from the members of this community and from any other visiting members or guests. We do treat the funds very carefully, and we know that it brings joy when we can take care of it and we can do the things we do. And as Chris spoke, actually, we last year spoke about community funds, and we started a project called what's it called? Sorry. We started a project, and sorry, I haven't got the notes here. Just a minute. Champions, community champions, that's right. And the purpose of the champions was to encourage volunteerism and encourage people to take care of the community in one way or another. And it's really important that we spend the money not just for ourselves, but for doing good works. And we've managed to do that. Is it on the screen? It's not on the screen. Oh, okay. You can see it's very simple.
Speak toward the microphone.
Yes, sorry.
People online cannot hear you.
Okay. Can I? Yeah, okay, thank you. It's very simple. You can see our financial report for the year from October 2022 to September 2023. Our balance at the present time is £156,063,000. And all the activities we're doing, we've started with the outgoing activities. Our education project, Be the Change, from Patrick and Yebony, who worked very hard to take care of our elder second gen. They're doing very well and really caring very much. So we're really grateful that we have this project going on. We have also the travel support for the career pilgrimages, and these were for mostly, I think, 4 or 5 second gen who have not been to Korea before. They've had the chance to go to in May to participate in a not just a journey, but to do a workshop. They also were able to visit the temple. We were all invited to come to Korea, but we couldn't all go. But these young people were able to represent us, and we're so grateful that we could offer some of the fare, because it's an expensive journey, so we could offer something for that. Our Family Federation in Moldova started a centre for children, Ukrainian children, who had to flee from the war. And the project was in a school. They had to, I think, prepare the schoolroom for the children. And they had approached, I think it was David Rennie, to ask for some support. And we were able to offer support for them, which we're really grateful to have done. Also, with our community champions, we had a little event after Sunday service, and we were able to listen to what these champions were sharing about their work. We had Wait, and we heard Ron's actual activity he's doing now. He shared about that. We also had Women's Federation, who were doing projects for children, Art for Peace, and for Young Women's Speech Contest. And the 2 projects, Art for Peace and Speech Contest, were not just for children in our movement, but also children wherever they're from outside. They're both successful, and we were really grateful to have had funding for those 2 projects, and Wait was grateful to be able to have contribution for its activities too. These are the 6 projects that we were able to sponsor, and actually it means we could spend £8,603 on these projects alone. That was very good, because in all, we spent £49,085, but of that 49,000, we could put 8,600 into good projects. We spent, for church activities, we spent a total, the balance of the sum, and for that expense, we had, of course, have tithe from members. We had to send a 10% to HQ, which we did. We had our pastor, our salary, our bookkeeper, our outreach, travel, and so on. Our service coordinators as well, and room hire here at the Peace at Harrow Art Centre, and also the YMCA in Romford. These expenses are very minimal, really. We do our best to keep them as low as we can, but very necessary. And we're so happy that we have the opportunity now. Now we've pooled all the donations together in one account, we can see very clearly how things are working. We're not spending a lot on bank charges. We're basically doing basic care, but we want to do more. So we'd like community champions to get bigger. So we're happy to help Ron with what he's doing. We want to do much more. So please come along with anything that you want to do, whether it's sewing, whether it's a school, education, as William wants to do, and give us an opportunity to share some of the wonderful funds that we have. We hope that members are happy with how we're spending, and if anyone feels anything, would like to share anything more in a way how we can care more for the community, we'd like to know. Yeah, and I also want to say thank you very much for Chris, for his hard work as chair of the committee, and thank you to all the committee members for their hard work. Of course, William, and for all members, and we want to show how grateful we are by really taking care of the funds and doing more for you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
I think we can keep it quite short on this one. Community Fund was set up about 10 months ago. We saw the need to support members who maybe temporarily just needed a bit of extra cash. And I realized most churches do this. They call it a hardship fund. And that's something we wanted to also introduce, although we call it the Community Fund. Currently, we have £1,200 in that fund. That's mainly because we had one donation of £1,000 from Andrew Archbold. So we're really grateful to Andrew. The average, though, that we receive from each of our hubs on a monthly basis is just £20, as opposed to the 3,000 we get to the other account. So, we agreed to have a little extra bowl here. So if anybody wants to contribute to the community fund, that would be really great. And if we could get it up to maybe £50 a month, that would be really good. We have one contribution so far to one family who needed some support to move. So we were able to give them £360. And basically this fund gives us the freedom to support things that the charity cannot do. The HSBC fund is limited and it must do things that are in line with the charity purpose. The community fund, we are free to use it as we wish. It's off books. So please consider that.
Ron, is the bank account in the newsletter?
It is. The bank account is in the newsletter. Yes, it is. But basically, we thought most of it will be cash. So, you know, every month, someone like Chris or myself, we just bank the cash.
But we could set up a direct debit as well.
You can. We have one person who every month does a direct debit, Peter Schroeder. Thank you very much, Peter. So, yes, you can do it direct. All the bank details are there. So, thank you very much.
No, it's all right. I just need it for my notes. All right, hi everybody. So I'm here to deliver the North Thames Community Survey report. So yeah, we'll go through the report together. Is it okay if I take this off? So yeah, we will go through the survey report together. I was not able to put all of the slides on, all of the charts and graphs and all of the information. So I just took just a few, about 8 or 9 or so different sort of charts, and I feel like it would be great for us to be able to go through that together, be able to just share, especially looking at the community survey we did last year and seeing, okay, how have things fared from last year? Have we improved? Have we not? How can we improve now? And different things like that. So one thing to mention also, which is quite interesting, is last year we had a number of responses of 41. And given by the numbers that we've heard from Uncle Chris earlier in terms of the number of people in our community, last year that was about a third of our community, thereabouts a third to a quarter. And this year we had only about 25. So about just over half of last year's responses were able, we had this year. But nevertheless, there are still some interesting things we can get into, interesting things we can sort of read and glean from. And I thought, why not start off with the same question that we started off last year, which was, I enjoy Sunday services and consider them a life-giving experience. So as you can see from here, it's saying from 2022 here and 2023 here, and it's fairly similar, but in my eyes, it's looking a little bit more positive in the direction of people saying that things are getting better. And some of the responses that were received in terms of written responses add to that. You know, saying a lot of some people saying that they enjoyed they find the experiences still genuinely enriching and good. And of course, we have a lot of improvement in our online attendance as well, and our online work as well. Thank you to Raymond and thank you to Joseph as well. So I feel that there has been some sort of improvement and some general movement in sort of the upper echelons of the graph here, which I think is something positive that we can take away from that, especially with the fact that throughout this past year, we have worked a lot to improve our online presence and sort of really take that seriously. And in line with what Pastor William has shared in terms of us wanting to continue making worship better, making worship an experience in which really truly is life-giving. Hopefully, maybe next year we can have 8, 9s and 10s and none of these 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s. I mean, we've already got rid of 1 and 2, so hopefully we can continue moving on. The next graph I'd like to share with you is relating to Sunday services again. I'm comfortable with inviting my friends/family to our Sunday services. And it is very much roughly the same, if I am honest. If you take in regards with the number of responses, we're looking at about the same numbers. Maybe a little bit better, but I would say about the same. And I feel that is something that, okay, we can actually look to work on. And I was looking through some of the points here and reflecting on, okay, what can we do to sort of make Sunday services feel more encouraging and inviting? I know, for example, in North Thames, Central London now, we sometimes have a greeter at the door, which is just a little bit of a bonus, something nice to be able to make yourself feel welcomed to the community. And there's, you know, smaller things that we can work to do that. And I know that there's many ways that we can volunteer for our communities to help sort of provide that sort of loving, inviting feeling. One point that was mentioned is, which I find actually quite interesting, is, you know, the idea of us being a bit more interfaith in our Sunday services. We do tend to be quite unificationist, quite churchy in that sense, but why not be a little bit more outreaching in that sense, inviting maybe people of other faiths to offer words of testimony and things like that. So that was something I gleaned from this year's report, which I thought is something that we can sort of think about and ruminate on, and is an area in which we can definitely improve on in terms of our Sunday services. We are happy to come, but we cannot grow if we don't feel welcome to bring others, right? So this is something that we can definitely look towards improving. Our next one, I know it is a bit difficult to see, especially with these two here because they are condensed, but last year we had one question, which was just talking about the charitable endeavours, and this year we had sort of two, talking about the endeavours and our community champions activities. The reason why I put them together is because, well, one, you can tell that there has been an improvement, especially with the fact that last year there wasn't much really going on in terms of what were we doing. A lot of it was the merger, was finding our feet in that sense. And throughout this past year, we have looked to increase our support of activities and initiatives with the community champions, with supporting young people going to Korea, with the newsletter, and so on and so forth. And as you can tell, because of that, there are more of us feeling a lot more positively inclined with the endeavours that we have, especially towards our charitable aims. And of course, with regards to the community champions, what I found very interesting here was maybe when it was mentioned in the survey, the charitable endeavours, maybe not all of us really knew, okay, what are we actually doing? Because I don't remember what we did in March and so on and so forth. I don't remember where the money's going, but as soon as we mentioned just a few of what we're doing or that we're supporting, everyone was like, yes, excellent, you know, we love this. So there's definitely an idea that the direction that we're pulling our money in, especially gleaning from the comments here, a lot of us really enjoy and are really happy that we are very much investing into our young people, youth initiatives, youth activities, really trying to engage with our young people. So there's a lot of positivity from there, and I know that a lot of our community are happy with that. The next one is talking about I would be willing / feel comfortable to volunteer for our community. So this is one I thought was quite interesting. The first one is talking about willing. So, okay, I'm happy to volunteer. And this one's saying I feel comfortable. And the idea was, that one, we want to be willing to volunteer. We also want to feel invited. We also want to feel cared for and appreciated. And I didn't put on here one of the graphs, but there is one talking about I feel appreciated, and there is also a lot of positivity in that as well, where people are feeling, yeah, when I do volunteer for Sunday services, for the band, for being a greeter, whatever it may be, for cooking, that I do feel appreciated. I do feel that from either those that are recruiting me to help out for that day, or just from the members themselves. So that's a lot of positivity. And of course, again, as you can see, there's a lot of us still willing to volunteer, which is great, because a community can only grow together. This next one is, I have confidence in our pastor couple, William and Ruth Haynes, and our community council in giving spiritual leadership for our community. So this is actually really interesting because, especially last year, there was maybe a lot of us, somewhat comfortable or happy with the current team that were going on, but maybe quite a few of us not really sure, either between 5 to 1, feeling, I don't know who they are, I don't know what's really going on, I don't know if I can trust them yet. But now, moving after a year later, there's a lot more trust actually going on. There's a lot more, okay, I know who they are more generally, I see them more often, and I know that they are, especially at least, working hard. And that is also sort of shared in the comments, where a lot of us are sharing, gratitude for the fact that there is something sort of helping to keep the community together, and especially as it is difficult, us being so widespread as we are, from here in Hatch End and some even further, Watford, all the way to Colchester and Norwich and all over the place. So there's been a lot of hard work trying to keep us all together and trying to guide us spiritually. And we're, at least for me, I'm very grateful for your trust and confidence in us. And so the next one is sharing, again, I have confidence in our council in making decisions for the betterment of our community. So that's supposed to be an O, my bad. So yeah, again, we're looking at more of a positive shift, where people are seeing that there is more confidence in our council. Again, thank you very much. And that is really good, and that is really positive to see. And hopefully, we can improve that. I know a couple of points that were mentioned in the survey through the comments were the dissemination of information and the communication of the council, and that is something, okay, we can improve on. I know we do make ourselves heard. We maybe post something in the chat every so often, but maybe, yeah, we can sort of be more regular, or figure out something to be able to make sure the community really know what's going on, especially in the conversations or some of the decisions that are going on. I know in our movement that is sometimes a bit difficult. It feels like there's an iron curtain between the organisation and us here, but we're trying to sort of make that very open so that we can understand each other, we can help each other really help the community grow. Next set of graphs is saying, I feel connected and empowered by what is happening in the FFWPU nationally. So again, last year there wasn't much really sort of us feeling connected or empowered by what is happening nationally. And the idea of this question was to ask, okay, are you feeling connected and empowered by what is going nationally, sort of through us? Are we connecting you well to what's going on nationally? at least we can see here there's a lot of us now feeling more connected and empowered nationally by what is going on. And perhaps that is also partially by the work of the newsletter that we have, which is sort of keeping us in touch with either what's going on locally within our communities, but also there is sometimes a lovely gem of something that has been going on nationally. I know I've written a piece on my trip to Korea, and I know each of us have shared something that we've been doing nationally or in our communities. And the next one is sort of following on from that, sort of talking about, I feel connected and empowered by what's going on in the FFWPU internationally. And again, this is pretty much the same thing in terms of how we're feeling last year and how we're feeling this year. I don't see much of a difference in my eyes, and I think that is something that we can improve on, definitely. I know we have a channel called NT Comms, which is supposed to be a direct feed of all the activities that are going on nationally and internationally. There are loads of videos and links and just information that we can feed through there, and perhaps, you know, we can ask ourselves, okay, how is that actually really diluting into the community? Are we actually able to pick that up? Are we engaged? Just posting it in a group chat doesn't mean that we're engaging with it. How can we help each other engage and really feel empowered with what's going on internationally and feel connected internationally? I know that is extremely important in the current climate as well, with what's going on in Japan, in Ukraine, in Israel. So how can we keep you engaged in that sense as well? And finally, one I thought is quite sort of nice to show is I'm happy to tithe to North Thames Community Church. And so, again, it's very much the same, and maybe even a bit more positive, where there's more of us feeling encouraged to tithe, or feeling like, you know, I feel like tithing. I'm happy with what is going on with our community. I'm happy with where the money's going. We've seen, especially with the financial report, where the money's going, the initiatives and activities that we are funneling into, and the idea that we want to do more with that. So hopefully you also feel the same as I do by seeing this, that there is more interest in wanting to tithe because the money is going somewhere, the money is helping us, helping each other. Yeah, so there's a few more points I wanted to mention. I will make the full version of the report open to everybody in a few days. So don't worry if, you know, there's a question that you really wanted to see notes from or anything. There's a lot more going on here. But one thing I did find very interesting is that there's a lot of thoughts and ideas of how, thoughts and impressions on. Where is it? Yeah, the merger. That is one thing I think is quite important. Is it's been you know, almost a year and a half now, year and 8 months or so since we were brought together as a community. About a year since we established that with Ruth and Uncle William and Auntie Ruth as our community pastors. And the question was, okay, how are we in terms of feeling like we are a merged and integrated community? And that was sort of, again, quite even. It was 50-50. There was many of us feeling, okay, I feel like there's something going on here. And there was another set saying the same thing that we've been saying throughout the past year or so. Many of us have been saying it's a bit difficult. We do live too far away to be able to go to East London or so. But I feel like the idea and the intention is for us to go where we can and to connect and integrate how we can, where we can, through small groups, through you know, impromptu communication and connection. It doesn't have to be just through Sunday services that we feel integrated, but actually by us really connecting through heart, through the intention to be with each other and grow with each other and instill that life into each other. And sort of on that point, although there are many things that we can be doing, there are many different ideas that we can have, there's only so many of us in terms of in the council. There's only so much we can do, and I know so many of us that are already doing other things outside of our community council. And so I'd like to also put it to the people here and the people online, if there's anything that you are willing or interested in getting involved in, if you see, maybe I can do something here for the Sunday service in East London or in Hatch End or wherever, please do make yourself available. Please come up to the community council, to your local community Sunday service organizer, and please volunteer and bring yourself forwards, because that way we can really help each other. And of course, if you have a bigger idea, a bigger plan, something that you think, I may need a little bit of money, we'll have a community connections event next month in November, the 26th, I believe. And that would be a great opportunity to bring that forward to the community and ask for support, ask for funding, support in other ways. We're not just here to provide financial support, but those that are able to are here to provide our expertise. I know Uncle William is very much happy to lecture and speak to anybody. If it's one guest to 100 guests, he'll be there with the same enthusiasm and the same energy. So that is something I guess I would like to leave with everybody here. Although the reports are somewhat mixed in terms of feeling, it is very much a community project for us to really build a community up. And I hope that we can take that in our hands together. And that is it from me with regards to the survey report. Thank you very much.
Stay here. So yeah, if there are any questions, just we can talk individually. We're a fairly small group. We don't want to go much longer. We're already a little bit over time. So, but are there any questions that you'd like to ask to William, myself, or Kieran, Anne? Okay.
Questions or remarks? There's maybe 3 points that I want to ask about. Is there some plan to create an audiovisual department to handle the various discrepancies or difficulties which are still exist there, particularly in Lancaster Gate, with aging system which require special plug to be connected, which many times create problem when there is meetings, etc. That's one thing. The second point is there any plan for creating a silver department, meaning third generation and those who gradually require more help and assistance, which I do not always have. I've heard a few cases myself. I know that every church minister do. So that's the thing which is connected with, which could be connected with already the community fund or so. But most of all, you do get some brothers and sisters who may need regular visits for those who can, and sometimes may live quite isolated wherever they are. So that's my question.
Thank you. Well, I think they're key points that are definitely, concerns, and we'd like to see those things develop. That's why, we look for ways in which we can encourage that. I mean, I can feel that you're talking slightly on behalf of Joseph, who does a lot of technical work in Lancaster Gate.
From Gianni.
Oh, Gianni as well. Yeah. So anyway, there's with Raymond and so on, there've been various discussions, and we're trying to find ways to support and fund development of technical work. So yeah, but there's lots of scope, and we hope for other people who have expertise in those kind of areas to step forward. Yeah.
So at least with regards to Lancaster Gate, because technically in terms of North Thames, we borrow the ballroom. Technically, the equipment there is FFWPU headquarters. So in terms of asking for, we can provide our own equipment, but then that would mean in terms of setup and tear down, that would make things a little bit longer and difficult. So what we can do is then sort of liaise with FFWPU headquarters to see, okay, what is it that we need for our communities, and how does that fit into the scope of what they're also doing? Because also the ballroom is used for different events and activities, and we can't modify it to be bespoke for our Sunday services. So we have to sort of work with them in that sense. So it's not so easy as let's just bring this here, but we have to sort of work with them in that sense. So hopefully it'll also answer some questions in terms of why haven't we made sort of major changes to the audio visuals, because we don't actually have that freedom necessarily in at least in Lancaster Gate. Thank you.
And with regards to the silver hairs, yeah, we should take care of each other. So, you know, we should all, you know, the small groups initiative was partly, you know, that kind of thing. As more we can communicate with each other, but that's the way to go. Mambok.
I just wanted to ask something about the survey report. One, is it question one, the service is great. Is it possible to stratify that to less than 20,000 under responses and over 20,000, just to see young people in the survey?
I'll repeat it. I'll repeat it. So in the survey, is there like, can we get a report back on what those young people think compared with what the older generation think? Is that what you're saying?
Stratify that response you've got, the bar chart response you've got. And then question two is, because I was a bit unsure about the analysis, because it's saying, oh, everyone looks happier, but maybe just the people who are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 didn't respond.
Fair enough. Well, all right.
That is actually a fair point, and that's something I've been reflecting on as well in terms of how come the numbers have reduced in terms of responses. And there's, you know, multiple options that could be. It could be maybe we are feeling more calm or more content with how things are, and so therefore maybe some of us feel like there's not much need to voice our concerns. And maybe it's true that those that still have those concerns felt like it was pointless to respond, or that they weren't able to reach the survey in time. We did have it out for about 2 months, so there was sort of ample time and we did our best to make it known to everybody, but it is a fair analysis. Again, that's why I mentioned at the beginning that the numbers are significantly different in terms of responses, so there's only so much we can glean from, but it does. You can again, it's subjective, so you can look at it and saying, okay, it does look positive in terms of the percentage, but there is obviously more that we can do to look into that. The other point on can we stratify? So how we set up the survey was that we wanted it anonymous, so we didn't actually ask for age groups. That is something that we can do next time, which I think is a great addition. Thank you very much. So that we can stratify. So although we wanted to make sure, you know, people, because we want everybody to feel open to be able to share critically and openly, but at least an age range. Are you, I don't know, 12 to 18? Are you 19 to 30? Are you 30 to 50, 50 above? Something like this, some general age grouping can actually provide a lot more understanding in terms of the reporting. Thank you very much for that, Mambok. Does that answer your question a bit? Thank you.
Disappointing that not so many people replied. Ron. Just kick him if it goes on.
Kieran, I realise you put a very positive spin on the survey. I appreciate that. I had a look at some of the answers, though, and I think most of the answers that are more relevant were in the written statements.
Yeah.
I'd like to come back on the merger again. You know, one of the statements was for East London that the merger has destroyed East London community. I'm aware that even in South London it has issues. You know, Bromley just went very quiet. We've never really had a discussion on did the merger really work. You know, and I'm not sure. You know, as the coordinator for East London, I can see certain things not working and perceptions, of course. And I wondered if anyone here would like to share, well, you know, was it a really good thing that we did that merger? Has it really brought us closer together? Because I realise we are 3 hubs and we still operate very individually. And I just wondered, you know, does anyone else have an opinion about that?
Helena.
I talked to some people in East London last weekend, and in the 80s, the accounts department went to that area, East London. 1 month we went to Norwich, then we went to Ipswich, then we went to Cambridge, and we did a Sunday service there in these 3 places. So I suggest we could do something more like that, have home-based services. Even you could keep Romford, but go to different places so that people in these areas don't feel so neglected. And then also, you know, Brian Mujaratney's there, his ex-Munda. I don't know if anybody's reached out to him, but this is a good way maybe to go and have mobile services in that area, because it is massive. And why try to get everybody to come to Romford if everybody has to go there, move, and then why don't you do like that, or concurrently at the same time, 5th week, they could have services in these different areas and encourage members in these outlying areas to be more, you know, involved in that way. That would at least help initially, and then, you know, possibly.
Okay.
Can I just respond to Ron?
All right, go ahead.
What Ron said. I think you can't measure whether it's been a success or not because we don't know what the purpose of it was. We were basically bulldozed into doing it. There was no real reason to do it, so we can't answer whether it stood or bad. I feel better for being a bigger community personally, but I think it's very difficult to measure whether it's a success or not because it depends on what the purpose was. And as we don't know the purpose, we can't say whether it was a success. But generally, I feel better being part of a bigger community than just a small one.
Yeah, if I can also say my piece. To some degrees, I do agree in the sense that one, it's hard to measure, and two, at least from, again, I wasn't able to show the graphic, but the graphic also sort of shows sort of 50-50. It's I don't know if it's working or not. And I think that's the honest truth, is that it is very difficult because we are so wide and so spread out. And my thinking personally is, are we looking too much at events and Sunday services to describe whether or not we are more integrated? Are there different numbers of people from different communities going to East London, to Central London, to North London? And my thinking is perhaps, you know, taking more of a networking approach of each of us really taking our own responsibility and initiative to connect with each other naturally and organically, and hopefully that can build a more natural integration. I do think it is true that it is that East London has suffered a lot from the state of this merger from the very start, and many different things have, you know, taken place that have made it very difficult for all of our communities to sort of maintain consistency. But I think that if it wasn't for us actually being able to come together and share the resources that we have, perhaps things would not have fared as well as it has so far. We don't know. But at least what we can say is what is important is how we move forwards from this point, because we are how we are now. And if we go back, if we unwrite, for example, the merger, would that also be the correct solution? So I think we're almost stuck to some degree in trying to make this work as best as possible.
Yeah, I'd just be interested to know if people find it useful to have 2 services sometimes on the 4th Sunday of the month, because I think one reason that it might feel that East London is not being respected enough or given the attention it deserves is because on those Sundays we have 2 services going on, and so not everyone who could go is going because they have the other option of staying in Exeter. So I'd like to know if the community is in favour of continuing with the setup or maybe adjusting the schedule of services.
We could make a poll on that kind of thing, you know, make more specific questions. Anyway, I think, you know, it's good to just air views, and let's carry on all the conversations over lunch and refreshments. So let's convene. Let's finish now, and thank you for your contributions and all your communications. You can leave.